Hello everybody, welcome back to RenderBots. My name is James and this is part 2 of getting started on your Mac. So on our previous lesson, if you've not seen that, take a look at it here. We are looking at the very basics of when you first open your Mac and get started. So my previous one, we looked at the desktop, menu bar and dock. And today we're going to take a look at the Finder. So how the Finder is going to help us understand our Mac and where to put stuff. Because let's face it, when we buy a Mac, where do we store these files? How do we retrieve them? We're going to find out right here. First off, we're going to do is look at the bottom left-hand part of the screen. If you hover my cursor over there, you'll see it says Finder. So it's a little blue and white face. Let's give that a click. Okay, so yours may look like this. Don't worry if it doesn't, but it should look something like this. I'm running something called macOS Sierra at the moment, and this is how that system looks. So what I'm going to do is run through this sidebar and explain every single part of the sidebar to you. And hopefully by the end of it, we'll have a better understanding about our Mac and the file system that we're going to use from now on. Okay, so first up, we're going to look is AirDrop. So what AirDrop enables us to do is move files and folders between other computers that are on the same network that I might be on. This can be done via another Mac, or it can be done from an iPhone or indeed an iPad. So in this case, when I clicked on AirDrop, it says James's iPhone, and this is because on my iPhone, I've got AirDrop switched on. Now, all I would have to do is take a file or folder from another area here on my Mac inside of Finder and drag and drop it onto James's face. So let's go to my documents here. So here's my documents, and I've got a photo here. Now all I'm going to do is click and hold, drag it over AirDrop, okay, and it flashes a few times. Got my finger pressed still on the mouse, and as you see now, I can move it and drop it on top of James's face like that. And then it says waiting. Now on my phone, we'll see here that it says, do I want to decline or accept that? So if I press accept on here like this, there we go. I've now accepted that thing. So that's very, very easy to do. Now, AirDrop is only switched on when we actually highlight the word AirDrop. So the minute I click on all my files, AirDrop is now switched off. I can no longer send or receive anything via AirDrop unless I've got that actual icon highlighted as such. And as you can see, the minute I do that, it picks up my iPhone and says, okay, do you want to send something to this? Really safe and secure way of sending information between iPhone, iPad, and other Macs in the office. All of my files. So what all my files does is looks at your computer as a whole and just displays all of your content, be it PDFs, Pages, Word, PowerPoint files, everything all thrown into one great big sort of pot. But as we see here, that here's all the files that are on my computer at the moment, and there's this little cog here. Let's give it a click, and it says arrange by. At the moment, it says none. But what would be really cool here if I said arrange by date last opened, or maybe even date modified. So now it's arranged by date modified. So it tells me that this was the last thing I opened on my computer. Now remember, this file could be anywhere on my computer. All of my files is not a location on my computer, unlike the rest of the areas I'm about to show you. All my files is not that. So all my files, all these are sorted in the date they were actually brought on or modified. This is great if you've worked on a Word document or maybe a Pages document on Apple, and that you have, you worked on it last night, but you can't remember what you saved it as. When you go to this thing here, it will more likely be that window there. It will actually be sitting right there waiting for you. So all my files are very good, and as you see, click on the cog, you've got the word arrange by. You can arrange it by any one of those things. So really quite useful. Next up is iCloud Drive. iCloud Drive works with iCloud, and I'll be doing a session on iCloud. There'll be a link up here somewhere when I do that, which you'll be able to follow. So look up there. If I've done it, it's there. If you're not, I'm about to do it. So iCloud Drive is part of Apple's iCloud. Apple has its very own iCloud system, which lets you store files and folders online. So that will be located. So all the files that are stored in the cloud will be accessible via here. So think of it like having a little key fob that you've got stored up in the cloud. Applications. So this is where the Mac stores the programs that are on your computer. Now yours may or may not look like mine. Don't worry if they do or don't, because I've got other things on here that I've installed. But basically, when you download a new program, this is where it actually lives. It actually lives on here. and we can access them just by double clicking it. So we'll see the word calculator here. So if I double click that, there's my calculator. Hit a red icon, get rid of that. So these are the programs on our Mac. Now they're all in something called list view. So before I go any further with the left-hand side here, what I'm going to quickly do is show you the views menu here. Okay, so I'm in list view. I quite like this view. Lets me see my stuff really clearly and concisely. But if you're hard of seeing and things like that, you may want to be able to click on this one here. There we go, give that a tap, and then you kind of see what I call icon view. So nice big icons, looks very much like an iPad or iPhone, and here's all that content here. Again, all I've got to do is, in this case, find the calculator, give it a double click, and it opens it up. Hit an icon, it shuts it down. So that's kind of icon view, then list view, so there is there. We'll have something called column view, which basically looks at the item and then gives us a kind of stack system going through the hierarchy. So this becomes the top of the hierarchy. If there's a folder inside of there, it takes you to the folder, etc., etc. You see. So you can see we can keep going through column view. Very useful if you've got lots of files inside of files. The last one here is called cover flow view. So what I'll do, I'll just take us back to the start. Okay. And we're on cover flow view. Now, if I make my screen a little bit bigger, you see they come quite large, which is pretty good. And this means I can cycle through and see those icons quite big on the screen there. Okay, so good visual representation. I'll show you how we will work that a little bit later. Okay, so icon, list, column, and then cover flow view. And you can see that if I use my cursor on my mouse, I can go left and right, and it allows me to skim through those very, very easily. Either that or use the up and down arrow keys. On the bottom right hand side of your Mac keyboard, you can go up and down like so. Okay, so that was a good look at the way we can look at our file system. So we can jump back into the left hand panel here. That's what applications. So anything you install will be sit inside here. Desktop. Now, as you can see, there is nothing on my desktop, and this shows me if there is. In this case, there isn't. Documents. So here's where all the hard work's going to be kept. Okay, so anything that's a file, folder, a PDF document, or Word or PowerPoint file, Excel file, this is where they're gonna sit. So all your documents should really be in here. Okay, and I've got a few now. We'll come back to this in a second. So that's where they're going to sit inside here. So let's go to downloads. So download is exactly what it says. When you go to a website and it says we're going to download the menu, for example, from maybe a restaurant you might be going to, and there'll be a little download button for the menu. When you click on that menu, this is where it's actually going to put it. So a good rule of thumb, guys, is to keep downloads folder completely empty. Okay, don't let anything store in here, because remember, you've put it here. You've been to a website and you've downloaded that spreadsheet from somebody or whatever, and it's actually gone inside of here. In this case, under downloads, I do have a menu. Now, normally, what we tend to do is double click this, and it would open up. But if you've got lots of things, you'll want to cycle through it very quickly. So we're going to press the space bar. So that's that big long one at the bottom of the screen. Press the space bar, and as you see, it's jumped out of the screen. It's given me a preview of what that actual document is. I can now use my mouse and just flick up and down. Isn't this cool? So it's really cool, and this is called Quick View. So I'm able to look at all of this very, very quickly. Okay, with relative ease. I'm not opened it up either. I'm just previewing it. When I press the space bar again, it drops down. So very, very quick in and out. Okay, so I want to keep this menu. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab hold of it. So I've clicked and held with my mouse, and I'm just going to drag it over to the documents folder. And move it over and let go. So now in my downloads, there's nothing. But in my documents, I have all of these files. Okay, so inside the file structure now, so inside documents, you'll see, I'm going to press space again. And there's a photo. Let's move that over a little bit so you can see what's going on here. If I press the arrow down, we're going to the next photo, the next photo. In fact, this is a Pages document. So this is something I'm working on. Okay. As you can see, I can scroll through it, but I've not opened it up yet. It's just letting me quickly look inside of it. Press the button then. There's the menu we moved over from downloads. There's a photo. And there's a spreadsheet which should be done inside of numbers, but this would also work with Excel as well. So pressing the arrow up or down or use my cursor to select it, I can now go through and quickly see what those items are. And that's because I press the space bar to let me quickly look at that. Okay, here we are inside of there. So if, like me, you want it to be keep really organized, what we can do now is create a folder structure to keep all of my things inside documents nice and clean and easy to find. So we're going to hit the little cog here, and then we see the word new folder. Let's give that a click. So when it appears, it's highlighted in blue. So I don't really need to click on here or do anything else. Just going to type in, let's call this cool pics. Okay, so I'll just type that in and then press the enter key. Then that says you've finished creating a folder. In this case, it's blue. So let's make it look easier on the eye. Let's go to our icon view. Okay, and let's arrange these. Let's arrange these in kind. There we go. So here I'm in Documents, I'm in Icon View, and I'm arranging them in Kind View. Okay, so there it is, Coolpix. Now if I double click Coolpix, there's nothing in there. So let's press the back arrow here. It takes me back to where I am. And here's those files and folders. So I've got documents there, I've got these images and PDF, and then the screen, the spreadsheets there. So I can now grab hold of this and drag it and drop it inside of there. Okay, cool. So I've just created a folder and I've dragged and dropped the items inside of there. Really, really simple. So now if I double click Coolpix, it will show me those 3 images inside of there. Okay, so let's add another folder. So cog, new folder. Let's call this work. So anything I'm working on, this is where I'm going to put it. So I can grab my genealogy report and drop it into work. Okay, cool. And then let's create another folder. Let's call this home. So anything home related, I can drag this into there like that. And that's work, so let's drop it into there. So there you go. So already my virtual office and home stuff is all organized and put in its relevant folders. Now, one of those things that a lot of people ask me is how do I back it up? I want to put it to a USB stick. I want to drag this from here, put it to a USB stick. This is very simple. The first thing we need to do is find out how big these folders are. If I click on this folder here, I'm going to hold down the Command key and tap I. And I stands for information, okay? So Command I. So it tells me the folder's home, and this is the size of it. It's very, very small in size. So that means I'll be able to check to see whether it would fit onto a USB stick. When I plug in a USB stick, it would appear here under the word devices. Okay, so very simple, it appear under the word devices. So I've got the word remote disk at the moment. So if I was to plug a USB stick in, it's going to sit under the word remote disk, and it would say USB 1, 2, 3, or might have a name like SanDisk, something like that. I would simply grab hold of this folder and drag it on top of that USB stick, and that's it. It will do a little virtual copy and move that over. Okay, so that's it for Finder. I hope you found it nice and easy to work between. We'll look at tags at another point, which will help us get around that. But I think for today, that's enough inside of that. So I hope you enjoyed that. It's a good look inside of Finder and how to hopefully understand what's going on left hand side of the screen there. Icon view, list view, color flow view. We press preview by pressing the space bar. So lots of really great ways of finding your way around a Finder. If you liked it, let me know. If you didn't, tell me that as well. You can like and share and obviously subscribe. All helps me. You can find me on Twitter at renderbots with a Z. So renderbots with a Z at the end. That's me on Twitter. If not, you can email me directly at james@renderbots.co.uk. Hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time.